And we have riveted and solid ring. Maille,
Yeah, I
every
believe
other
so.
row. That's what it looks like, because it looks like we have solid here. There's not one
Got some
rivet.
solid ones in here.
This bottom row where some is missing. And you said it's around 14th century?
I think 14th century.
14th
yep.
century Maille. And this looks a lot like the Maille I've tested recently, so this is way more durable than you would imagine, because this looks like it's around 17 gauge. Some of it may be 19 gauge or something, or it's...
Could be.
Yeah,
Yep.
but we don't know if it's from the erosion or it was just not that uniform because it was made by hand, because it would be so difficult to make each ring. Theoretically, this would be a hair weaker than the modern mild steel reproductions, if they were the exact same.
I would say it's probably on par, probably.
About the same.
Yeah.
So the testing I did with mine would probably
Yeah,
about the same
14
results if I were to hang this.
Yeah, if this is 14th century, it's probably got some carbon in the material, and as long as you're using wire of this gauge,
Right,
you know,
it's of
it's
this gauge.
going to be relatively close.
It's about identical if you held it up next to it. Hey, this is Thrand, and I'm here with Roland Warzecha,
Hi guys.
and I'm here in Eagan, Minnesota, at Asfolk Viking Martial Arts School. We've had a great time this weekend, haven't we?
Oh, absolutely. Wonderful place, wonderful people.
And we have a good test set up for you. On the same Maille I've used in other videos, it's actually stopped a 70-pound bow and no penetration whatsoever. We put that over ballistic gelatin with our analog gambeson, I would say, because it's not a true historical gambeson, but it's as close as we can get. We've got 6 layers of a coarse woven linen. It's pretty tightly woven with some felt padding. And today we have it over clay. It's hard to see, but it's actually clay like people use for clay cutting and then used in other programs as an analog for flesh. I think it'll do a really good job. We're trying to get away from the bounce of the ballistics gel, because I don't think that's very realistic. And we have it right here set up for us. And I'm going to let Roland do the honors and thrust first. We actually took time, Roland took extra time to sit here and make sure that those points were very sharp, because we know how you like your penetration.
Yeah,
So the honors, he's going to try to get one through.
so this is one of the big questions that there are. Can you actually penetrate Maille with a sword? I've done it with spears before, and that's actually pretty easy. But the question is, does it work with the sword? These are replica swords of the Viking Age. So they usually have a very flat blade profile, and then the point is not particularly acute, right? Like in later periods, you would see more rigid swords tapering to a very acute point, and they have a much better capacity of actually penetrating on. Now, with this particular swords, they have these grips, and yeah, I'm notorious for playing around with these handles, with these short handles, so I'm not a big fan of fist clamping a sword like that, because it actually restricts my range. And in thrusting, because I come from medieval martial arts, where you, in 133, this manuscript on sword and buckler, you see a lot of thrusting, and the thrusting that you see, the arm becomes a straight extension, the sword becomes a straight extension of the arm. You can see that in the book really, really well, because that of course means you have maximum reach. Now with a sword like that, in order to get maximum extension, you must not hold it in a fist grip, because then of course you create an angle here and thus deprive reach and range. So, so that's why I like these elongated grips, and I use them on the medieval sword too. Now, while playing around with this kind of sword, I eventually came up with a motion, with a way to hold this kind of sword. You can actually move it in such a fashion and then thrust with this kind of grip.
Very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, really, I don't know if they did anything like that. But just by playing around with a sword like that, coming up with this kind of grip, which provides a really nice grip and also gives you some extra few inches. I'm not saying that anybody did it. I'm not saying it was done on a regular basis. I just interested.
It's a possibility.
It's a possibility. Yeah, why not? So this is something that I want to try out, and why not try it out against Maille?
Oh, well, so, like I said, it's a lot like a guitar, so
Yeah, okay.
possibly you could pierce it.
So, oftentimes when, or mostly when I'm fencing, I have all these opening moves where I already start to accelerate the blade and have it in motion. If you consider like a car and you are pushing a car, then to get it from a static position, that's the most struggle. Once it is moving, it's much easier to actually push the car. And the same is true for a sword. Once a sword is in motion, it becomes more or less weightless. So once you have accelerated it, you can maneuver it much more easily. So this is why I want to try this kind of swing and then extend into a thrust, like so maybe. I don't really know if anybody did it, but I'm just going to give it a try. Okay, you can see how it flexed back. So if there's a flex, that means the alignment is not perfect. Because even with a softer blade like this one, you should be able to align it in such a fashion that all the pressure goes right through the blade. So that one did do virtually nothing against the
You've got
blade.
one heck of a dimple under here, though. I think you would have felt that.
Yeah, if you step to the side of the camera, you can see, show it.
You can actually see. Set this down so I can pull it up properly.
Well, you would certainly have felt that, but
See how
there has to be a point where people were wearing an extra 20 pounds on their body. If it was easy to penetrate mail, it would be pointless to wear it in the first place. But regardless, I'm going to give it another try.
Should we reshape it quickly?
Oh yeah, please.
That's what I'm thinking. Sure.
Can I give you a hand? Sure. A few more tries with that sword, and then we're going to try out the other one.
That went straight.
Yeah.
That one went straight.
Did you make it? How far did you make it?
I can feel the point on the inside, but it
Did it both times?
didn't actually cut any ring. So
Did you score it? That's fine.
no. So that one would have protected it once again. So
That was a good thrust.
it was a good thrust. It's pretty sharp, but that lived up to it fairly well.
Plus, these swords probably have a little bit higher grade steel on the edge
Oh yeah,
than the actual
but that's probably true for
early
it.
kind of, on average.
Yeah.
Depends on the sword.
I can feel that it already blunted the edge here, so that has become a lot blunter now.
And out this time, pull it out. You can see the difference in that thrust. That is.
Oh yeah.
I have a live audience, just in case anybody doesn't know that. So they're watching as well.
Yeah, so I wouldn't say that the power is sufficient, so it comes down to sharpness of the edges and the profile of the blade. So if you look at this point, I mean, even like maybe like 5 millimeters from the point, it's still as wide as my finger is, right? Which means if you have a blade profile that is more acute, you would put some of the point through the mail even before you start cutting rings. All right, so we have an even wider blade here, which I'm going to try now.
So far, no damage to the man. I can't say for sure how bad he would be hurt.
So that's a more beefy blade, which means as it is being accelerated, there's more power behind the thrust to begin with. On the flip side, it's a much wider edge, so you would have to put a lot more material through the rings. Now, if there weren't any rings, such a point would cause a wide gashing blade. So that's the downside of very acute points, that they do not cause as much of a wound. They are less likely to cut any intestines as they penetrate the body.
But if you need them to pierce what the man's wearing, it's a necessity.
Yes, exactly. And yeah, so we're looking at a period where not all too many people were wearing armor to begin with, but some did. So let's see if a sword can actually penetrate it. Just check distance here. flex again. So you can see as the sword bent, a lot of the impact energy went into deformation of the blade. So that means that was not a very good thrust. Still no cut rings, I'd say, right? No cut rings.
Sorry, I happen to reset this every time, and it's the only way to use this type of log. Really nice still. Definitely punching the guy. You can feel it.
You can feel how it bluntens the blade pretty instantly.
I don't know if you'd want to continue fighting after you get like that.
Well, it certainly has an impact on the person, that's for sure.
If anybody would like to, they may come along the side here at the end. Just don't go beyond the shield and don't pass the rope.
You know you want to. Oops.
Okay, so I'm going to do one more of these cast
And I'll probably
thrusts.
try Roland's original sword.
So that was pretty straight, although I did feel some flex, but that was after it made impact. So you can see I'm at maximum range, really far away from the person that I'm attacking, and I can still control the body by pressing in here, because you see the pressure comes back right into my shoulder, through the blade, and down into the ground. So that's pretty cool, but still, no cut rings.
Now, we may have too much give in our clays, what I'm wondering.
I don't know. I mean, this point was already becoming dull after the first
Well, certainly.
one.
Let's go ahead and get our clay out and reform it.
What kind of action are you going to use for this one?
Honestly, I'm thinking about trying to use the sword in a manner of, like you said, accelerating it, but throw it and then continue with it.
Yeah,
Let the
I see.
blade accelerate,
Yeah,
if I can
cool.
accelerate the blade, much like you throw it under
Yeah,
a spear.
I see.
Just throw it out. And we'll see if that does anything.
Yeah, and feel free to go to the side if you think there's a bit of impact.
We're filming, correct? Oh, and I hit way off. Not gonna do me any good.
Yeah, it's more difficult because you're stepping.
I know, it throws you off.
Yeah.
Oh!
Saw it flex,
Saw it flex.
was on target.
Nothing. We've got like little cutting action.
Yeah, they're like tiny shiny marks on the
Right.
rings, and that's it.
And we've got the same kind of dimple that you've got
Mhm.
over.
Okay.
I have to reset that. What does it do to the tip?
One side's still pretty sharp.
All right, another thrust.
Yeah, so you can tell why chainmail was very sought after at the time.
I think our clay has changed shapes many times now. Ooh, spot. Should I try the same thing? The same thing?
Well, whatever pleases you.
I'm thinking about trying something in this manner.
Okay.
Possible, but I can't guarantee it. Oh, I can hit right now.
That slid past.
I know, we got a little bit of the scoring of it. Look good.
That didn't flex at all. Oh.
Let's see what we got. We have a ring that's messed up badly,
Yeah.
but it didn't actually pop the ribbon.
No. So and it went in like maybe half an inch or so, which was because one of the rings collapsed as the blade was driven through.
Like a
which-
football shape. They kind of footballed out.
Yeah, exactly. It footballed out. So the ring, because it changed shape, the tip entered about that deep.
And we hit towards the side of the clay, so it has this nice, weird Van Gogh look.
And so ideally, what would happen is as it condenses, then at the point where the ring bends, that's where it would be cut. And it's really interesting that when you look at mail and only one link is missing, you can already put a finger through it pretty easily because it's a flexible mesh. So that means that even with one link cut, you can create yeah. So I say with this kind of ring size here, like 2 links cut, you would be able to penetrate it. But so far we didn't make it.
Was the other sword less flexible?
The other one is actually more beefy.
More beefy?
Yeah, so it's
Might be able to get a
it
little
has a more substantial blade, which is nice once it is on its course. That looks good.
We actually scored one quite well, but it's now cut all the way through.
Yeah. Okay, so one ring is damaged, and it was pretty much the same story. Yeah.
I think we're going to have to up it a little bit on the scale of what we're thrusting on it pretty even.
I think that's a good idea. So in theory, a spear should be very capable of piercing. So this is what we're going to check next.